There we are. Just re-enabled the message time because for some reason that was turned off. Hello people, welcome. Milton Valley Railroad construction continues. We're almost at 200 live streams of Trainz. Almost. Like it's really not that much to go until we've actually reached 200 Trainz live streams. I would say that is a significant milestone. So hello Kango Fango. Hello Mr. W, welcome. Good to see you here again. Good. Hey. Oh, stream title, yes. There's the stream title. Hello. Yes. Hold on, let me just quickly double check which number this is. I think this is number 3, isn't it? Yeah, 193. So with this one included, since it's just starting, yeah. When this one's finished, at least, yeah, then it'll be 7. So, oh, right, quick announcement. This Wednesday, if all goes to plan, I will be doing a preview of Slovak Eagle's route Polaris, which will be very interesting. I have not tested to see if it works for me yet on Mac with stuff, but it should work. It's not that resource-intensive a route. So that's something to look forward to. And, yes. Let's get started. So, if this one gets finished, what do you mean? When this one gets finished, at least. Yes, if. It might just carry on. Ooh, yay, great. So, today I want to do quite a bit of building back here. I need to turn the render distance down, one moment. For those that don't know, Slovak Eagle's route Polaris is inspired by the game SnowRunner. Yes. It's got lots of interesting stuff with layers on it. So, yeah, today I want to really do a lot of good work on this town, which means placing a lot of buildings and placing a lot of buildings. So what should we do first? Probably place a few buildings. Polaris is a fictional place, isn't it? And the name of a Marvel superheroine, but that's beside the point. Unless he's made a route set on Polaris, the star. Yeah, alright, that makes my question utterly redundant. Not necessarily. Polaris is as in the polar region, I think. Oh, around the polar region. I think the North Pole, because, I mean, it might be around the South Pole region, but there's not that much going on around the South Pole region. Hold on, the UI just needs to load in fully. There we are. Although if there's one place if there's any place where, if someone came to me and said, we've just gained the ability to conduct paleontological digs anywhere on the Earth with no worry as to cost or practicalness, is that the word? Where should we dig? I would say, why are you asking me? But then I would say Antarctica, because it's so hard to do excavations there, because there are, of course, the blanket of ice and snow covering all the interesting things. But it's got permafrost, which means that you could find some very interesting things there, I think. Practicality, yes, practicality, that's the word. Well, logically, you'd want to go to the least discovered place, yes, which is Antarctica, in terms of paleontology, I believe. At least as far as I'm aware. Yes, I want to put my filter on. Hello! What is that? Ardope2. Welcome. Ardope2. Is it still the truth that we know more about our moon than the bottom of our own sea? Well, that is a more complicated question than it might first appear to be. Ryan. Oh yes, Ryan. I remember. I think that was you. Hello, Ryan. Welcome. How are you? Well, because the statement about the bottom of the ocean and the moon, that comparison, it's a little misleading because we know a lot about the surface of the moon because we can clearly see it. We can aim telescopes at it, we can get all sorts of information from how the surface interacts with radiation, whether that be visible light or other sensors that are pointed at it. The bottom of the ocean is much more concealed, so we know less about the bottom of the ocean in terms of actual pictures of the place, actual information about the specific locations, because it's just not easy to see. And also because we're not really looking that much there. Because the thing about the bottom of the ocean is that most of it is just sand and really not much. So that's also where the thing goes about only 15% or something of the ocean being explored. Like, yeah, 15% of mostly just empty water and sand. So it's a little bit of a misleading question. Because if you think about how the environment works, then we probably do know more about the moon as well, because the moon isn't such an active environment as the ocean. But you can see how it gets complicated. Yeah, which also makes claims about, for example, well, Megalodon comes to mind, or other extinct animals still being alive in places in the ocean that we haven't explored, a little bit less believable, because the term explored means a human has been there. Or an extended definition means that a human-controlled device has been there, like a camera or a remote-controlled submarine. So, yes, only a tiny fraction of the oceans has been explored, but that doesn't mean that we don't know about what's there. But that also doesn't mean that we do know everything. Of course we don't know everything about these places. How could we ever hope to know everything about such complex systems? But anyway. Yeah, hello. Come on, yes. Right. Oh boy, here we go. We're about to get a science lesson. I'm good, how are you? Yes, I'm doing quite well, thank you. Where would you all rather go? To the South Pole or to the bottom of the Mariana Trench? Well, if I just went there, so just me being there is the only condition, the only thing there, then obviously neither, because both places would kill me within a matter of moments. Well, probably the Mariana Trench a bit quicker, so that is not a very pleasant thought. But yeah, unless you of course mean go or be in a safe way, so that you're not actually in danger / already dying the moment you appear there. In which case, I guess the Mariana Trench sounds interesting. Might see some bioluminescent creatures, maybe a few flatworms. Whereas by the South Pole, it's pretty much just endless ice and snow without anything else interesting. So if it's safe, then I'd pick the Mariana Trench. Good here. Or one of geology. Well, geology is a science. Trench, I bet. Although I'd probably be scared hairless by it due to my watching underwater horror. Ah. Yeah, but there is a significant risk, of course, to being in a submarine to begin with, and then being in a submarine that's that deep, or a bathysphere that's that deep, of course. All right, all right. Also, I am a Twitch streamer. What do you mean? Oh, also, not also, yeah. Also, I'm a Twitch streamer. Oh, I see. What sort of stuff do you stream? Trainz, I guess you can only really answer it once you've been able to reasonably explore it, and it doesn't look like we've been able to do that. Yeah, but most people aren't really trying to explore, to actually fulfill the definition of having explored large amounts of the ocean, because most of it is just empty. That time and money could be spent elsewhere to make more interesting scientific discoveries about nature. So, yeah. Also, I've heard that it's also always the same side of Luna that faces the Earth. Yes. The moon, Luna, is tidally locked to our planet. The most reasonable explanation for why that is that I've heard is that Luna once was part of the Earth, and then when one planet collided into the Earth, when it was still a ball of magma, basically, part of the Earth got flung out and landed in orbit eventually, but it kept the rotational force of the planet, thus staying tidally locked. But I don't know about any modern stuff about that. So. Right. We don't know if we don't know something. Well, how do you know that? I'm happy. Good. What sort of things do you stream, if you don't mind? But yeah. Oh, Roblox train stuff. Alright, I've never gotten into Roblox train stuff. I've seen some pictures of some of the servers, and some of it looks quite good, but I've never played the game myself. That looks a bit boring, just all these houses, like all the same houses like that. Might look a bit better once I've added trees around it to break it up a bit. We'll see. I'll just continue placing houses for now. Hopefully it won't get too performance intensive, but these houses usually aren't that performance intensive. Although, with streaming after the update, it is a bit of a concern for me. Right. Oh, nice. Trainz, I mean without worrying about bodily health. Well then, yes, I've already answered your question. So I missed most of the live streams. Missed, probably. Trainz, don't suppose you happen to know the reason why I can't lower the resolution on the stream? I can only set it to 720 or auto. Well, as far as I know, the ability for people to change the resolution on the stream is supposed to be reserved for, I don't know what it's called, for people who are paying Twitch, it's a thing you can unlock as a streamer to allow your viewers to do that. That is my understanding of it. Why people were able to do it anyway is a bit of a mystery to me. I don't know. Also, these houses are getting progressively further apart. Hold on, let me move those a bit closer. Something like that, maybe. Sorry. Odd. Yeah, that's same for me at the moment. Maybe reloading the page might help? Not sure. Trainz. Well, surely we can only say that about the parts we have explored. We've seen it, and we know it's empty. Who's to say all what we haven't seen isn't empty at all? Also, gonna reload the stream just to see if it does something. Okay, well, are you back? Have you reloaded? Probably yes. Well, that is a valid point. We haven't seen those places, so no one can definitively say that there's nothing there. And that is how stories like the Loch Ness Monster, for example, have persisted since the, 1920s or something like that? But the thing is that with some smaller animal species, that is entirely reasonable. Yeah, of course, new species are being discovered all the time. But you will have noticed, if you're paying attention, that there's a distinct lack of super predators or apex predators that have been newly discovered. At least outside of the insect world or things like that. Because large animals like, for example, Megalodon or Plesiosaurus of things like that, large animals require an ecosystem that can support them. So, for example, if there were a giant predator that is living at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, then that would need to eat, which means that either there would have to be large prey around, or they would have to eat a lot of small prey. But the thing about the depths of the ocean is that there's barely anything living there at all. Mostly flatfish, worms, and some crabs and things like that. So if the ecosystem isn't there to support a creature like that, it's hard to logically justify the creature's existence. But of course, because we haven't been there, we can't definitively say that it isn't the case. There might be something completely different that just has not been discovered yet. So, yeah. So that is part of that. Of course, there is an exception. Like, for example, it could be that there is an unknown predator, but the prey that this unknown predator feeds on is the same that a predator that we already know about feeds on, and it does so in a similar way. So, for example, if there was a predator that had kind of circular teeth or something like that, and it was giant and it fed on whales, then if it lives at the bottom of the ocean and it wouldn't rise to the surface when it died, then we could reasonably, if we found whales with scars of these circular tooth marks, these scars, then we would attribute that to giant or colossal squid, because, of course, the serrated suckers on their tentacles. Like, for example, sperm whales, because they're preying on each other. But yeah, so that is a possibility. But again, I think it is a somewhat, actually, it's a quite rare, well, not rare, what's the word I'm looking for? Unlikely possibility. But yeah, we haven't been there, so who's to say? Sure, sounds interesting. Will you watch my live streams, Fanga? I'll see if I can catch one. When do you usually stream? On your schedule, it says your last stream was 4 days ago on Tuesday. Sorry, I'm going to start a live stream. Oh, you want to do a live stream now? Well, I can't watch, but other people are welcome to have a look. Re-quality. All right, that seems much like such a basic thing that they lock a payment behind. Yeah, well, that's what I understood the way when I set it up in 2020. It could have changed since then, but I don't know. Good luck with it. You're back now. Good. Hey, have a good day. Thank you. Have a good day, Ryan. Have a good day, Ryan. Hello. Yeah, we likely won't be finding a Cthulhu or Leviathan, which both relieves me and saddens me. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I read some very interesting things about the character, the creature of Leviathan, and its connections with other similar monsters in other mythologies and religions. And that was actually really interesting. Like, for example, Jormungandr, the World Serpent, and a few others as well. When will that be? Alright, you're off. Bye. So, unlikely? Oh boy, someone in the recommended is playing Diablo Immortal. I've not heard good things about that game. Well, I have not heard good things about it either. Come to think of it, I've not heard anything about it. Right. Okay, we've got a reasonable segment of town done. So, I was just looking at it. Is it? Yeah, I suppose I should probably put a few trees around, see what kind of how I can make it a bit more interesting, and then replicate that as we continue building the town. So let me just grab some of the trees from over here. I'll grab the coniferous tree. I've not heard anything about that game. Right, apparently chock-filled of microtransactions. Ugh, yeah. Right, yes, of course. Mr. W, would you be interested in joining VC today? To be fair, that is just from a thumbnail and some comments, but the video itself is on my to-watch list. Ah, well, have fun with that. Yeah, if you want to join VC, I can quickly start up Discord. Although maybe it would be good if you started up first, considering that last time we tried this, it didn't really work that well because of... Yeah. Whereas if Discord actually obeys me this time, maybe I will, yeah. Sure, well then, let's see if it does. Obey me, Discord, I have ordered thee. Well, if you talk to me like that, I won't do anything. Yes, that's how Discord speaks, if you didn't know. Does that make it look more interesting? Yeah, it does. It does. Probably could use with a bit of a, with a bit of a fence back here, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it could just be open like this, because like a wooden fence would fit quit nicely, but then it would block the view of the trains, and I don't really want to do that. So maybe a barbed wire, but this isn't really animal area, so barbed wire wouldn't necessarily make that much sense. So maybe just leaving it open. That could work. A lot of the houses in the US are literally just on the grass without any fences around. I looked this up. I looked this up on Google Maps. Yeah. The Lords of Discord are mine. They will obey me. Heard that quote from Doctor Who. Yeah. It's there's a it's the laws of time. The laws of time are mine. They will obey me. It's the episode, I think it's from Waters of Mars? Waters on Mars? I think the episode is called. It's actually a really, really good one, because that is the episode where the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, basically loses it and says, you know what? I've been so careful to preserve timelines and to make sure that I don't cause any paradoxes, but you know what? The Time Lords are all dead. I'm the only one left. I can do whatever I want, so I'm going to. And he did, and it had interesting consequences. Okay, so yeah, let me just open up. Which Dr. Tennant? Yes, I think the episode is called Waters of Mars, or Waters on Mars. One of the two. Who is 12th, I believe? 12th is, well, it depends how you're counting. The 12th Doctor is either Will Smith? Will Smith? No, not Will Smith. Sorry, different name. What? Matt Smith. Not Will Smith. Matt Smith. It's either Matt Smith or it's Peter Capaldi. Depending on, well, yeah, it could be. So it really does depend. Are we really going to get into this whole which Doctor is which Doctor thing again? I think we are. Okay, so let me just switch over and enter the voice thing when you're ready. Just connecting. So okay, so you've got the first Doctor so Doctor number 1 is the first Doctor, Doctor number 2, second, third, fourth, so on, until you get to 8. So 8th Doctor is the 8th incarnation of the Doctor. Then you get to the War Doctor, which is the 9th incarnation of the Doctor. And so from that, then the 9th Doctor is actually the 10th incarnation. And then the 10th is the 11th incarnation. And then the 10th regenerates into himself again. So then the 10th Doctor is actually the 12th incarnation. So then, yes, the David Tennant did play the 12th incarnation of the Doctor. And then you've got 11 being the 13th incarnation, or the 12th regeneration, which is why at the end of his episode, I can't remember the name of it at the moment, he thought this was it. He can't regenerate anymore because he's regenerated 12 times because he's the 13th incarnation, even though he's the 11th Doctor. And then you've got the 12th Doctor, who is technically the 14th incarnation of the Doctor, who is Peter Capaldi. And then you've got the next one, the 15th incarnation, which is Jodie Whittaker's character. But of course, none of that matters if the timeless child is allowed to exist within the fiction. Oh crumbs, I come back to this. Discord isn't loaded up yet, but it's on its way. Sure, I'm in the channel. If whenever you're ready, you can join. Yeah, I was just answering your question about Doctor Who. And surprisingly, it took me less than an hour. Okay, so what did I want from here? Oh yes, a hedge. So, I believe it was a hedge that I wanted. Also, sorry about the stuttery frame rate. Ever since I updated my operating system and to Server Spec 5, it's been a bit more stuttery than usual. But it's only when I'm streaming. When I'm not streaming, it runs smoother. I could turn shadows down, and I actually might do that. Might just do that. If I put a thing there, can you still... Yeah, you can still see the trains through that, right? Hold on, if you're up in that window here... I mean... You can just about see through there. Maybe if I have the hedge a little bit lower. Hello, VGR, Eliza, welcome. Well, but if I added a gun shop, then the bad guys could get guns as well. Because in this universe, that would be the only way that they could obtain them. Or maybe I do have it open back here and just have a hedge going like that, maybe? That could work. Actually, let me quickly turn down the... one moment. Let me just quickly turn down the shadows while... Also, I'm going to load a Discord page that hasn't got images in it because the images take performance as well. So, just gonna be a moment. Yeah, but I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Oops, it's darker. It's currently still saving. It'll catch itself in a moment. You can see still. Oh, there we go. See. Okay, now I'll quickly have to relaunch Trainz because of the shadow quality. But it's Server Spec 5. Ever since I updated to Server Spec 5, it's not done a single forced database rebuild, and that is a thing that I'm really quite happy about. I think Shredder's meant that others could also buy weapons if you can. Now, of course, that doesn't really relate to the real world, because in the real world, that is a more complicated subject because there's a black market for them. But on my map, there isn't. So, yeah. True. Is there also a first time for eternity? Also, Mr. W, maybe, because Discord doesn't usually cause problems for you in other contexts. So maybe if you stop the stream, then open Discord, and then started the stream afterwards, maybe that would be easier. Like if you pause if you close down the stream window, then open Discord and then joined. Trainz, yeah, but how would you know that there's not a black market on your route? Haha. Well, I know because I know everything about my route. First time for eternity? Yeah, but there's never last time. Ah, there we go. Hello, Mr. W. Can't hear you yet, but that'll come shortly, hopefully. Actually, I need to turn this down a bit because that is getting quite grayed out. Just loading in still, as you can see. Oh, I heard swallows out there. I don't know if they're African or European, though. Things not lighting up. Yeah. Push to talk, maybe? I don't know.
Yes, of course it's push to talk.
Oh, hello. There we are.
I completely forgot about push to talk.
One moment. Let me just readjust this so that the volume is a bit better. I think that should be good. Can you say something for it as a test?
Hello, hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello.
Okay, that should be about good. Thank you very much.
Sweet. Whew.
Okay. I'm going to place some of these hedges here and then see how I like it. Because it does break up the scene a bit more, which is good, so that the houses don't look as repetitive as they actually are. But I also quite like the houses just being out in the open like this, and I don't know if the hedges really would add that much to that. So what have you been up to?
Not too much today. I've been testing out some of the new games I've got. Went through a script I needed to do, but mostly just taking the day off. Tomorrow is probably going to be much the same. I had my guitar tutor as well.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
How did we get on onto the subject of the Mariana Trench? I completely forgot.
I think it was Kanga that mentioned it, and it was me who asked, is it still the truth that we know more about the surface of the moon than the bottom of the sea? And then Kanga asked that question.
Ah, right. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, because of Polaris, because of Antarctica, and then that's how we. To anyone who would like to answer, what would be a good name for a horror movie that's set in an industrial district of a town/city? Do you have any recommendations?
I'm just trying to think. Is this for a project that you're working on, Kango? A good horror in an industrial district of a town or city. Can't think going off the top of my head.
Actually, this is interesting. This is nice. Just having the hedges around a few of them, a few of the houses. That
helps break it up.
Yeah.
helps break it up. Doesn't make it feel quite so monotonous.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, kind of in line with okay, they can go. Nah, I know an answer. Just a bit of fun. And apparently it's a pun, so now we have to basically guess what. I think we now have to basically guess what the pun is.
How about the industry of murder?
I'd say that's more of a thriller than a horror.
Okay.
You heard any answers? I mean, with you, yeah. Kango says that his answer is a pun, and he just wants to know if we had any answers. Now that you've given the, Eliza says, "Oh, I love that." Well, of course you would, Eliza. And kind of in regards to Kango's question, steampunk, like, it's probably a thing that's already been done, but steampunk horror does sound incredibly interesting. And hello to VGR, who has now arrived in chat as well as Eliza.
Ah, yes. Hello. Oh right, yeah. Going back to the other thing that was mentioned. Yeah, I don't know what it is, and I don't really care either.
Eliza says, first of all, there is a way to export Trainz meshes as 3D models.
Yeah, that is.
And there's a Gmod add-on that uses a train mesh. And Kango asks, should he say his answer as well?
Yeah, of course.
I say yeah.
Of course, go ahead. I was just waiting for you to do so.
Yeah.
Do I like that?
Oh good grief.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Kango's thing is warehouses, as in where is in a warehouse where you store stuff, but then where is in a werewolf. Goodness. That kind of. Have you ever seen Monster House?
Yes, many years ago.
It kind of makes me think of that.
I didn't quite like that film. I thought it was a bit boring.
I mean, again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and from what I remember, it's a decent film. It's quite dark, but it's decent. VGR says, second, I found a Blender plugin that allows you to export your scrap mechanic blueprints as 3D models. Only thing is that it seems to not work. Well, that's the main thing. It needs to be able to work before you put it on. Yeah. It needs to be able to work.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it.
Kanga says, I've heard about it, but not seen it myself. Oh, assuming that's referring to Monster House.
I saw that Blender says it's installed correctly, but it doesn't show up when I look it up to activate it.
And Kanga replies to him saying, "Oh right, I see. Maybe it's an older version of Scrap Mechanic."
Nah, it would be a Blender thing. I had an issue like that with the Trainz installer thing as well, where yeah, maybe it's the wrong version of Blender. It's updated 3 days ago. Yeah, but maybe it's still made for a previous version of Blender. Try it with version 2.79. Try the add-on, the Blender add-on with Blender version 2.79. Maybe that fixes it. Yeah, and I'm gonna add some bushes along here as well, probably. Yeah, MC2 has a thing with that as well. 2.8 Plus can't export DirectX.x files. Yeah, I've not done anything with that particular in that particular direction myself. Oh, Mr. W, have you had a chance to have a look at Swords and Wizardry?
No, not yet. What I'll probably do is I'll probably do the fake campaign first, just so I can sort of do that, just so I can do that system and put the knowledge in that system to use, and then I'll probably learn another system because it'll probably it might be a bit much for me to sort of keep multiple new systems in my head, at least for now.
Well, Swords and Wizardry is really quite simple. It is. Did I already explain to you the D&D branches, like how it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe you did. I think you said it was like like a sort of a reimagining of the very simplest and like the very first version of D&D.
Yeah, original D&D. It's a reworked version of the original D&D. If you're concerned about rules and about having to remember lots of stuff about them, then I would recommend something like Swords and Wizardry, because the layout of Swords and Wizardry is also very, very well done, especially in the PDF as well, with the chapters marked. You can very easily find whatever you're looking for when you need to look something up. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I'm almost tempted to see if I can like use the story that I've written for a Fate campaign and use it for something else. Because with Fate, you very much need to, because you can't really, well you can write the story around the skills, but you have to make the skills yourself. I mean, that's not what I did. I made the story first and then tried to make the skills. So I'm almost tempted to not do it in Fate.
So is your story? You said it's a. Did you end up going for a steampunk thing?
No, I didn't. I eventually decided on a like a traditional medieval fantasy, which is why I'm leaning towards maybe using it in Swords and Wizardry or D&D.
Yeah, well, Swords and Wizardry is basically D&D without the name. But yeah, so I'll get into that in a little bit more detail if possible. But first, I want to quickly reach as it's saving again. I've also got a name.
I can read it if you want to get.
It's fine. It's still saving. It's just saving at the moment, so I've got a bit of time. I've also got a name for a Western thriller and a comedy movie. Is it Thrill of the West? No, go on, please. What is it? New starter game coming, for you at least. For me, it is 20-year-old classic. Really? Star Trek Resurgence. That name sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Killbillies in Bloodlust Gulch.
Oh my god.
Killbillies.
Gulch.
But yeah, so with Swords and Wizardry, for example, there is, like, to give you an idea of how easy to run the system is, there actually is no skill list as you would think, like as you think a skill list to be. So
being as Fate does a similar sounding thing, that does not fill me with confidence.
No. In Fate, there is a skills system where you've just got to come up with your own skills, and then you've got that system. With Swords and Wizardry, it's basically just left up to the GM's discretion in the moment. So, for example, say you're in town, you're trying to impress this noblewoman by painting a picture of her. Then, if you say, okay, well, my character's got a bit of background in that, then the GM might say, okay, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, it's a good picture. On a 4, it's an okay picture. On a 5 and 6, it's a terrible picture. So you can make it up on the spot, like what you think the likelihood of things might be. Yeah?
Ooh, okay.
And that is how most... That's one way of doing it. The other way is just asking for an ability check. Like, for example, an intelligence check. So you'd say, okay, give me an intelligence check. Or then you can see, okay, well, you do this, or you know this, or whatever. Or strength. Yeah?
Okay.
Or it's just, okay, you've got an intelligence that's above average, so you would probably know this, and you can just tell them what they know. So, yeah. The only exception with the skills is that the thief class, later on known as the rogue, does have specific skills, which include opening locks or disarming traps and things like that, which need to have specific numbers, but it's just a percentile table that you can look up in the book.
Okay. In that case, I'll probably see if I can, because it doesn't sound like there's a lot of stuff to read. I'll see if I can read it tomorrow, and then essentially just use the story that I made for Fate for this. Because essentially, I don't want to make the story go to waste.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there really isn't a lot to read. And like going into what the specific classes can do and the spell stuff, that's all stuff you can look up. And that is mostly things for the players to worry about. So, because you shouldn't feel like you need to remember everything about it, because with a PDF especially, you can just tell them, oh, you don't know what that spell does? Well, you can look it up under the magic section, and then you tell me what the spell does. Noblewoman, who in the name of Zarantar is that monstrosity that in that picture? Throw it into the ashes now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Question.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of, I suppose franchise is the right word, would you like to see a tabletop roleplay system of?
Well...
this isn't one that you know exists that you want to play. This is one that you'd like to see exist if you don't know it exists now.
Yeah, I'm not certain that there is one, because the thing is, I mean, Star Trek, of course, but Star Trek exists. And then next, Doctor Who, but Doctor Who exists. I've never played it, but it sounds really good. It's also, I think, a 2D20 system or something like that. So, maybe something that has... Maybe something to do with time travel. Something that has concise and robust rules for time travel and how time travel works. That could be fun, but that would be so difficult to write.
Yeah, well, I've recently watched a video on. I think it's quite an old game. Now. I recently watched a video on Chrono Trigger, which does seem to do time travel, but being as Chrono Trigger is an RPG, I think it's a JRPG, an RPG in and of itself, and there probably is a system for that.
But it's a video game, isn't it?
It is a video game originally, yeah, by I think it's Nintendo. I think they did Chrono Trigger.
So, is there a franchise or setting or something that you would like to see an RPG system of?
Oh yes. I would say Elder Scrolls, but that has to exist already. That's got.
Yeah, there is, I think.
Yeah, and
wait, didn't I already link you a link at one point to an Elder Scrolls RPG, like a tabletop thing?
I think that was more of a board game rather than a
Hold on.
Yeah, I think that was more a board game rather than like an RPG. And speaking of which, I didn't buy it, but I recently came across a card game of Dark Souls. which I've put that on a list to sort of look up because I've been really into Dark Souls recently, and I still protest that Dark Souls 2 is better than 1. Let's see. Tell you what, I will just go and have a look at the list of games that I got to see if there's one that exists.
So there is actually there's a whole bunch of conversion things that are for use with D&D 5th edition that are for the Elder Scrolls things. I'm just looking at it now.
Right. Yeah, maybe if you send it to me over Discord.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just gonna.
If you just search for Elder Scrolls TTRPG, then you should find lots of that sort of stuff.
Sweet.
I might need a bit of looking, but
I've also just had a thought. Even though I've not played much of it and I don't know a lot about it, a sort of see this is the reason why I really enjoy text-based RP, because you can just lose yourself in the world of any franchise that you want, as long as you either know a decent amount about it so you can run it, or at least willing to learn about it and are willing to play somebody who is new to that universe. So from that, I really don't know why it appeals to me so much, but I would love one set for Kingdom Hearts.
I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts. Can you elaborate a bit or not?
Neither do I. I've got the games, but neither do I. I've not really played a lot of them. Tell you what. I'll just go grab the games and I'll read from the back of them. I'll be back in just a second.
Sure. See you in a bit. Oops, one moment. There we go. Just clear the filter.
Okay, so the two games I've got are Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix, which is a long bloody title, and Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix. I think they're like remakes. They're like remakes, and each of them are 3 games compiled into one of, I think, PS2 ones. Yeah, it's essentially like a fantasy world which also includes Disney characters. Disney and Square Enix, I believe, are 2 companies responsible for it. Yeah, looking at it now, I haven't played any of these in a long time. I think, here we go. Kingdom Hearts v Chain of Memories card-based battle gameplay. It's a very sort of stripped back box. There's not really like a summary or anything on them. It just tells you the very basics of the gameplay. I guess it assumes that, if you're buying the HD remixes, which is again what they're called, it probably assumes that you already know about it.
Probably.
Yeah, just like I learned recently that there is. Let's see. There's like a really long title that one of the games has. I think it's Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix Final Chapter Prologue, I think is the full title. Which is almost a contradiction.
Almost.
But yeah, something like that. I don't know whether because it is just fantasy based and it does have that sort of air of innocence about it that interests me. Yeah, I really don't know. Oh, actually, that reminds me. Have you heard of? Because I've got like a collection of like Sega Mega Drive games on my PS3, and it comes in a collection. Have you heard of? Oh, I always forget the name. Shining Force. That's what.
No, I have not.
You haven't. Well, it's a JRPG for the Sega Mega Drive. I think there's 4 installments of it. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and Shining in the Darkness. And even though it is very basic, it's just got such a charm to it. And again, something set in that universe is something that I think I'd really like to get involved in. There's also Phantasy Star, which is a more sci-fi tabletop, which is a more sci-fi game. And I think Phantasy Star Online, which is kind of like Elder Scrolls Online, I think that's still going fairly strong.
Yeah, I've no idea about any of that.
Yeah. I will just have another quick look at some of the other games and see if I can come up with a better answer. For the original question. So again, I'll see you in just a second.
Mm-hmm. I think it's looking quite nicely. Quite nice. Working quite nicely, looking quite nice. There we go. So, yeah, having the houses along here, then I want to have some houses probably along here, along this side of the road. Although that is quite steep, that's not really going to work that well. I suppose I can try it. And then I want houses along this bit, going all the way up to here, or maybe up to there. Let's say up to here. And then I'll probably put a gas station over where that intersection is on the left. So in here, because I do want one in this town. They're going to have a monopoly on gasoline.
I'm going to say Dark Souls / any of the From Software games. I think that would be really good.
Ooh. Maybe something like Call of Cthulhu could work well, and if you took the rules but put it in that setting.
Yes, make it really... Oh, give me 1 second.
Your 60th of a minute has long since elapsed.
Oh dear. I think combining it with not combining it, but taking inspiration from the Call of Cthulhu rules would make sense, because isn't Call of Cthulhu meant to be very ruthless and very cruel?
Yeah. Your characters are meant to be fragile, and if you get into a fight with something, then you've pretty much already lost, as far as I know, and you've got mental stability as a statistic, which is a bit like a health pool, as far as I know. I've not actually read the rules, but as far as I know, only you can be damaged from that just by being in certain situations. And
I mean, I think there would probably have to be an actual health system.
Well, no, I think that there is. I think that there is in this as well. I don't know how they do hit points, but I think it's just in addition.
Yeah, I know. I meant more for Dark Souls, because they are Dark Souls and the From Software games. As far as I know, they are all mostly fighting games. But they are incredibly ruthless and incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I know. I saw some. I suppose it was more like a documentary about some of their games and how some of the things were put together, some of the games and how they do stuff.
If you can find that, could you send that over on Discord? Because I'd be really interested in that.
I'll see if I can find it. I'm not sure that I can because this was years ago, but I'll try.
That was probably before, probably quite a bit before Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely yes.
Yeah, and I'm just imagining a massive, because the Elden Ring world is massive. Everything that's in vendor distance everything that is in vendor distance you can go to, and I'm just imagining a massive world like that put into tabletop roleplay. That'd be astonishing.
So 2 things. 1, everything the renderer touches is yours, and 2, And 2, that's basically what sandbox tabletop role-playing games are, though. It's just, yeah. I mean, you've got different varieties of sandbox. You've got sandbox where the world gets randomly generated as you go. Like, for example, hex crawls, where well, there are different types of hex crawls, but one type is, as you go, the surrounding tiles that you explore, there are random chances of it being different things, and then of a car, like for example, you'll roll on a table, oh, there's a settlement here, then you roll on another table, oh, it's a castle, then you roll on another table, okay, they're actually friendly towards you, and then you can do world building that way. Or, as the GM, you can just draw a huge map, just not put a lot of detail in it, just draw a continent and a few towns, and then as the players go, you just populate the area yourself at where the players are going, which is probably is the way that I do it.
Yeah, that's why I really want, just like, again, there's probably a game like this that exists, but I just want to be, like, for a game especially, I just wanted to be plopped inside a pre-built world and essentially be given the go-ahead. There is no one direction you can go. There's no real objective. Just explore and see what you can find. I'd love that.
Well, you can play Minecraft that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not if you don't have unlimited world generation.
Oh, right, yeah, because the old console edition did have the limited world sizes, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you could get Java edition.
Yeah, I could. Oh, yeah, of course, because 1.19 came out recently, didn't it? Like, only a few days ago.
It came out on Tuesday. Actually, about that, I'll quickly rechat. Never played Call of Duty myself, but I think I came close to playing it at one point in 2019 in a neighboring town. Yeah, you're not sure. It's like there might have been a little blackout there. You think you came close to playing it, but right. It's a nice niche. Sorry, that's so niche. So close. I'd sing it. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Willis 1961. Welcome. In addition to a gas station, small town needs grocery store, hardware store, diner, restaurant, church, post office. Yes, I'm planning to have the shops along here where the station is, so that's kind of in the center of town a bit more. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah. So about 1.19, what do you think of it?
I mean, it seems to have added a heck of a lot of stuff.
Really?
Well, again, I don't know. I've not played. I've just gone through, what I've seen online. It seems to have added a lot, into like lore perspective. Like, there's already a game theory episode on it.
Of course there is.
Of course there is. But yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's a bit disappointing because the reason why it's called the Wild Update is because they wanted to focus on making the biomes making biomes that already exist feel more like nature, feel more alive, more wild. Yeah, like for example, if you're in a forest in Minecraft, the only thing that's moving there is maybe a bee that's flying around somewhere. If there's a bee's nest that's spawned. But they wanted to put in frogs and fireflies, make it feel like you give it ambience and make it feel alive, and things like that. And they want to do that with the swamp and the birch forest, at least according to the what's the name? The not presentation, the reveal of it. When it was revealed, and they had this beautiful concept art and things, and then they just cut that back and back and back and back. And the thing that I was looking forward to most about it were actually the random fireflies in the swamps, because Imagine that, just being out in a swamp somewhere, hearing the frogs croaking and then seeing those fireflies dancing around at night, glowing. That just sounds so atmospheric, so wild. And then they decided to cut fireflies from it, because in real life some fireflies are poisonous to frogs, and originally the frogs were intended to eat the fireflies to reproduce in the game. And so they decided to cut it instead. Now, of course, actually on any video about that, after that was announced that they were cutting it, literally every comment was, no, please, the fireflies add so much, just don't have the frogs eat them. But instead they just didn't add it. And about the birch forests being revamped, that was never touched on after the concept art. So what we got was an admittedly quite beautiful looking mangrove swamp, which has some frogs in it occasionally, but it doesn't really feel very wild. It still feels very static. What am I actually looking for here? Oh, right, I wanted to find the library building. So you've got that, which does add a beautiful new wood type, but again, for a wild update doesn't, yeah. So you've got the mangrove swamp, you've got the deep dark, which is just that kind of patchy underground stuff that's on the walls of some caves. Not really any plants or fungi or anything else in there other than that stuff. And then you've got the ancient city structure that has the warden spawning in it. And other than that, you've pretty much only got, as far as where am I looking? I'm looking in the wrong place. As far as I recall at the moment, you've only got like the ability to put chests in boats, and that's pretty much it. So, as far as I remember, there might be an obvious thing that I'm missing, that I'm just not remembering at this point. But where did I put the library? Didn't I have a library building somewhere over here? I thought I had a library.
How the hell do you use a library?
How
the hell do you lose a library?
It's easy. Watch me.
But yeah, I do get what you mean. I mean, I guess because they did add the whole thing of a being, of a deep dark. I suppose maybe that means they had to cut down on some of the other stuff. I don't know.
Well, a theory of mine is that because in the deep dark in the city, they've added that huge warden statue with a kind of frame around it that looks like a portal, but it actually does nothing.
Yeah.
My theory is that the Mojang team have been working on adding a fourth dimension to the game, and they've been putting the resources there, and that's why they've cut back so much about the Wild update. And because they wanted to release that in order to then being able to put in that next dimension, because the next update is the 1.20 update. So it's a milestone. So that's my theory, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have heard a thing that again, this is from the Game Theory episode, they're not necessarily creating a new dimension, they're just creating the idea of a new dimension to add to the lore.
Yeah, true. But then if they're just adding the idea, then I don't know why they would have to cut back on resources or on that stuff, especially since only a few little details would have gone such a long way. Like, for example, just having the fireflies in, but not have the frogs eat them. Or with the birch forest, just having maybe some mushrooms to grow on the things. Like one block, just a mushroom that sometimes spawns on birch trees. That's such a simple thing that would go such a long way. Or maybe, like this is what I hope they would do is, ever since Minecraft 1.13, in War Motions, tropical fish can spawn as mobs, and the way that that works is they are randomly generated from there are there's a set of body types, and then a set of fins, and then a set of patterns, and a set of colors, and from that a random tropical fish is generated, and then it spawns a whole bunch of them in the area. And they're all unique. So what I had hoped they would do is they would do that same, but instead they would do things like colorful bird, yeah? And they would spawn in forests. So you would still have all that random stuff. It's still only one mob, but just seeing just random colorful birds flying around in forests occasionally, that would add so much to the feeling of it. But of course they didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from.
Anyway, Willis 1961, yeah, I do know that police car is too modern, but I remember looking through the list of police cars and I couldn't find anything that looks as good. Plus, I do already have a couple of instances of that model on the route.
Do you want me to V-chat?
Yes, please.
Okay, whereabouts were you? What was the last one?
That was Willis 1961 about the police car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I do find, if there is a good-looking police car of the time, then I will consider replacing them.
Okay, so Willis, that's a 70s police car. Kango asks if it's close enough. Kango also asks if the sounds have sounds.
I don't know the context of that anymore.
Neither do I.
Also, I did have a library here. It's this building. It just doesn't look that big.
I'll just wait for that. Oh, yeah. Hang on. Eliza says, I just imagined a startup scene for the RNA... Hang on. The chat keeps growing. Give me a second. Yeah. The RNA biosvetskumata, and it starred like Black Mesa Source's HEV startup. Kango asks VGR what class is the ship. VGR replies that the class is a capital-sized battle yacht. Eliza has posted a link of the HEV startup scene that he was talking about.
Let me just quickly have a look.
Kango says toucan head, parakeet head. VGR says Eliza and crew take positions. Eliza scans her hand, a security thing, and the lock comes to life. Kango says frogs, I meant. VGR says, welcome, Captain Eliza, initiating systems.
Yeah, the frogs do have sounds.
Mm-hmm. Kango says, I didn't really think about the frogs having sounds for some reason. And Eliza says, by the way, play anonymous materials in the BG whilst reading. I'm also just going to quickly grab my mouse.
Yeah, I can't play stuff in the background because then it would be on stream. And these streams are archived to YouTube, so copyright issues. Atmospheric containment sensors. You mean things that detect if atmospheric containment has been breached and then seal bulkheads or put up force fields? Question mark. Also, I do realize that it might be better to have the station on the other side of the tracks, considering that's where the town is. But this way you've got a better view while waiting. Yeah, I'll probably just have some crossing boards going over and then, have have some stuff there like that.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hello. VGR says, "High impact." Hang on, no need to do the voice for it. High impact shield generators activated. Atmosphere containment sensors activated. Warp systems initialized. And can go there with a link. VGR. One second.
Okay, let me just find the
Interdimensional core activated.
I meant this spline. I wanted to find this one. Yes, that. It's the music. Yeah, I can't play it on stream.
Right.
Also, I have downloaded quite a few UK mods for Transport Fever 2 because I would like to give Transport Fever 2 another go, have another playthrough with mods this time, but I don't have the time slot for it at the moment.
VGR navigation systems initialized.
Anyway, what were we talking about before Minecraft?
Systems that we'd like, tabletop role-playing systems that we'd like to see.
Oh, right, yes, I remember.
And then Eliza says, defensive weapon systems activated. Kango says, sounds fun. Would you stream it? Or when would you stream it? Assumedly referring to the modded Trainz.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I don't have a streaming slot for it at the moment. Yeah, Transport Fever 2, yes.
VGR communications interface online. Have a very safe trip, he also said.
Good. Yeah, there is something about the kind of startup sequences that's there's something about startup sequences in general, isn't there? Like like lights coming on, switches being flicked. It's like an anticipation, like a build up to some sort of launch or something starting up in the background, like gaining momentum.
Yeah, it's like with I think with because I only sort of know the reference to this. I believe that an actress in Alien was Sigourney Weaver, and I believe that she is the voice of the Axioms sort of computer in WALL-E. I think it's a nice little touch. Also, WALL-E is a great film.
Yeah, I've only seen one of those two films. Oh, let's have a look at that link. That's okay. Thank you for the offer, but reading it in chat or having Mr. W read it, I know how it's probably intended to be read. That's okay. Yeah, that's quite a small picture. Can barely read that. Can go.
I just like the phrase, "Have you heard of a fair deal? Neither have we."
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay, VGR. But yeah, if you do read the the Assault and Wizardry book and you get stuck at a point, you can you can DM me and I'll give my input on the matter if you want
Bless
it.
you, thank you. I'm just going to quickly do something. I'll be back in just a sec.
Sure. Just a little secondary entrance. I know it might be a bit redundant, but a bit of redundancy is okay. It's now shields, weapons, atmospheric, warp, interdimensional, navigation, and comms. Okay, in that order then. So do the shields... That's interesting, because... So do the shields... I'm assuming the shields come on first, because if you're in a dangerous situation, that's the thing that's going to save your life, probably. Like, protecting yourself, giving time for the other systems to come on. I'm assuming. But... So, I'm used to how things work in Star Trek, and in Star Trek, the warp core, the warp system, the warp core, is the thing that's providing the power for the ship, including things like shields and most weapons. So, with that ship, is the power also tied to the warp drive? So if the warp drive is offline, like if the warp core is offline, does that mean there's no power? Oh, so it's the same in Star Citizen. I see. Okay, let's put in the sidewalks, because those are going to be needed.
VGR says that it's the same in Star Citizen.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
I've read that one.
But it does sound cool. Oh, you have. Eliza says the Eliza's yacht is powered by two reactors, two Honkai energy reactors. I can only assume that that's a spelling mistake, but I refuse to read it. I refuse to read. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Link for Kanga.
I know what you mean.
And there's another link that Kanga's put in, which I'll just open up.
And I think that it is not a spelling mistake. Have you just been accused of murder, theft, infringing copyright, or even arson? Then you need us, Snitch and Well lawyers. We're happy to take your matters into our hands.
I like how arson is at the end of the list, because that implies that that's the most sort of egregious of those. Whereas I think that murder is probably worse than theft, infringing copyright.
Maybe they put it in order of how common the crimes are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And in that case, what city do you live in where arson is more common than theft? Good grief. Vija says one for the main power and one for the auxiliary. And he's also going to correct himself in just a second, I can imagine, because he just told me to scrap that. Fortunately, I'm unable to unsay that.
Yeah, a lot of people wish they had the ability to just unsay something.
Yeah, and it'd be bloody useful if we could, but unfortunately we can't.
Yeah, but the more you think about it, the more it's probably a good idea that we can't actually do that.
Yeah, because nothing would have consequences then, really. Well, it would, but it wouldn't have any meaningful consequences because you could just undo it. He just says, when landed, the yacht is connected to the power grid via cables or just the solar cells on the roof.
Aha. I see. That bit wasn't straightened. Interesting. You sound a bit tired. I
am a tad bit, yeah, I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not used to having the laptop on at this At this hour, I don't know.
At this late hour.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Okay, I think I'm gonna make the sidewalk go up to this point, and then maybe have a farmhouse or something over here, because I do want, like I said before, fields over on this bit.
I assume you're staying on for another half an hour or
Yep,
so?
I am. Another one,
Okay.
$7.99, now available.
Yeah, another one.
Try the all-new peach bar. Dried peaches, best peach. Company CEO. Available now.
Dried peaches, best peach. Oh my word! It's so like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so like, oh, it's like it's corporate to the thing of it sounds like a parody of it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like something that I love to do. Actually, probably at sort of at this hour usually. I would be on my VR headset and I'd just be playing Job Simulator, like the sort of the free play version of that. And it really does help me to relax. It really does help me to relax, especially if I'm listening to my own music in the background. It just, you know.
I suppose you could get an actual job with a night shift.
That is true, yes, but that has consequences.
Yeah, you get money for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I've actually been meaning to see if I can get a job because I'm on quite a long break now. VGR says you just take the power cables and hook them up to the sockets on the left or right landing gear. Kango says thanks, and the over-the-top corporateness is what he was aiming for. VGR says don't worry, they're automatically disconnected and unhooked when the yacht is ready for takeoff. That's such a weird sentence. When the yacht is ready for takeoff.
Yeah, well, not if you've seen his yacht.
Yeah.
Or her yacht, I suppose, because in the universe it's Eliza's yacht.
Yeah. But yeah, another thing that I really like to do in VR is just put myself into a virtual environment, which there are quite a few of. But annoyingly, two of the newest ones don't work, at least on mine. Sort of turn off a hub and just sit back and look around, because
Yeah, but the thing with that, like, what sorts of environments do you mean?
Well, there's like let's see. There's one sort of in a desert terrace, like a desert house. There's one set in the future. There's one set in Japan. There's one on a space station. There's one. There's one in the winter, which seems to be when I show people the stuff you can do on the headset. That seems to be the thing that they most lean towards. I think there's a couple more, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, with those sorts of environments, I can kind of see it. But when you said into just virtual environments to just experience that environment, then I mean, I don't know if I could really enjoy that much, because I think I would want to actually be in that environment, because for me, I do genuinely enjoy the environments that I'm in, and I do take moments to just enjoy the moment in those places. But for me, why that's enjoyable is because of how real it is being in that space. And I think that with it being virtual, I mean, with environments like a space station or sci-fi thing, or even like the desert thing, it's not very easy to get there. So I can see that, but yeah, I don't know if I would I would enjoy that much. Right.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and I probably couldn't stay there for too long before I got bored anyway. But yeah, I do get where you're coming from. Yeah. VGR says, I even imagine the scene of Eliza and co entering the spaceport and blarding, but then he corrects himself and he means boarding the RAN Biusveps Kumata with inbound 1-2 from Black Mesa source in the background. Now, I do know that Black Mesa is, I think it's Half-Life. Kengo says, gotcha. Are those the tram themes from the very start? And Eliza has, or VGR has yet to answer that.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. But do you know where that dun 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 thing comes from?
Oh, God. I don't know.
It comes originally from silent movies, where you had the action filmed with title screens between that explained what different people are saying. And so those kind of films used to have a lot of visual storytelling, and in the movie theaters there usually was a pianist playing the score to the film to underscore what was happening. And so what they did was, when something dramatic happened, they used to play like dun 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 on the keyboard, like it's a really dramatic thing, like meant seriously, because it's like this. I mean, it feels dramatic if you take it out of the context of what it kind of means nowadays mostly, then it is a dramatic music cue. And so that's where it comes from.
That's it. I love that. I love that. VGR has now posted 2 links, and he says that those are the songs, and they are boom tram themes.
The Black Mesa thing with the tram.
Oh yes, I just prefer to say it. Is it No, not phonetically. That's the word I'm looking for. But it's like with there's a classical piece that I recently found out. Tell you what, I'll just see if I can find it.
So you need flowers, yeah? Susie Heartless has them. Stunning displays of floral beauty for scarily low prices.
I'll have a look at that in just a second. But it's Symphony Number 9 in E minor, which the start of it sounds sounds identical to the Jaws theme.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, that's probably in the public domain now, because if I know the right rules about if I know the right rules about copyright stuff.
I wouldn't tempt fate, or rather, I wouldn't tempt the fates, because actually a lot of things that you think would be public domain aren't, because copyright can be renewed.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, when Star Trek: The Next Generation was made, they had a thing with Data.
Of course, he goes through this.
Yeah, well, they had a thing with Data playing Sherlock Holmes in the holodeck, where the thing was, Data, of course, is very smart, but he has memorized all of the books, so he knows the solution. He doesn't have to deduce anything, because he knows the solutions. And being creative in solving those things is a large part of that. And when they made that, they just used the IP because they thought it was written in the 19th century. So, at least I think it was written in the 19th century. Yeah? It was.
Yeah, something like that, I believe, yeah.
I don't remember the actual date. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. But, yeah.
I believe it is, yeah.
So, they thought that it was just in public domain. And it wasn't. Which is why they had to just cut off that storyline, and they never touched on it again, because the estate from the author, they got in touch and they wanted to be paid royalties. They wanted to be paid money for that, and they thought that TNG had a huge budget, but actually they were having constant budget problems, and so they just had to drop it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I don't think that the Jaws theme is in public domain.
Well, not the Jaws theme. It just sounds a lot like the Jaws theme, like at least from the start.
Ah, right. Oh, yeah, you meant that. Oh, right.
The classical piece.
I thought you meant the Jaws theme. That's funny.
That's well, I assume that John Williams, because I think he wrote the music for a lot of films like that. I assume he has the copyright.
Depends on the contract he signed.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, Symphony No. 9 in E minor from Dovak's The New World, I think it is. Yeah, it's a very powerful piece.
That's a funny one.
I'll just read the rest of the chat. Yeah, Kango says Symphony No. 9 in E minor. VGR says just put those in the background and imagine heading to Eliza's yachts in a scene like this, and then there's a YouTube link.
Yeah, can't do that at the moment.
Kango says
again live streaming.
Yeah, Kango says Kango says I don't want about moving houses, which I will just click on and check.
Would you like to read it out loud for the people watching archived?
Oh yeah, definitely. Need to move house but don't know where. Oh, good grief. Tobertus Magwell Homolash.
Haulage.
You name it. Haulage. You name it, we'll train it.
Those are great.
VGR says it gives you that chill and feeling when seeing Eliza's yacht. Kango says that it might be Universal that owns the rights. Yeah, that's true. VGR says chill on the spine, I meant.
Yeah. It all depends on the contract.
Yeah, because isn't, again, this is from the leaks I heard in it, isn't like the original Mickey Mouse cartoon, which I think, isn't it Steamboat Willie, I think is the name of that one. I think that sort of, I can't remember the exact details, but there's something about that which is that the time has gone past where it should be out of the public domain, but Disney keep reviewing the rights for it, I think.
Reviewing or renewing?
Renewing, that was it.
Yeah. It's actually, like, if you think about it, like how that works, it's like I made this thing, and then if you're silent about you having claimed it, it's like, okay, well, is it okay to touch now? No, I renew it, and claps the hands away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eliza says, especially Inbound 2, seemingly referring
to the music, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have someone to talk with when I'm just doing dull stuff like blazing endless amounts of houses.
Yeah. Yes, there's no worries. I will probably hop off at 11 though.
Yeah.
So 50 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to stop at 11 anyway.
And I've just realised my windows have been open for this whole time, and I am just going to close them quickly.
Sure.
Right, hello.
Hello. Okay. Right, I'm going to look for some store assets that might work quite well here. Dice, but how did they supposedly still manage to make the TNG episode suspenseful if it's really easy for Data to crack a Sherlock Holmes case? I think that you know this, Kango, and that you've written this to make me go into details about the episodes. Is that correct, Kango? Oh, you don't remember it.
He says he doesn't remember it, yeah. VGR says, especially with the ambient industry sound and humming again.
Yeah. Music pieces that give you chills are always something.
Yeah. Especially, I'm trying to think of a phrase it. Especially instrumental pieces, because with instrumental pieces, it's difficult to like come up with relatable stuff because you can't really have lyrics that are relatable or anything like that. And there's one piece of music. It's actually the main theme for Undertale, which just gets me every time I listen to it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, with me there are. I'll answer your question in a moment, Kango. With me, one of those pieces of music is in the original Star Trek film when they're doing that long fly around to the Enterprise when it's still in dry dock, and which is the same theme that they later used as the theme for The Next Generation. But because that starts so slow, and then as it comes around, as more instruments come in, and then as the lights get turned on, and you can see the things being detached as they're launching, that gives me chills.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Kango, to answer your question, Geordi asked the computer to make an opponent capable of defeating Data, and the computer asked for command clearance, which should have been a warning sign, but it was ignored. And so to create an opponent capable of defeating Data, the opponent would need to have all the knowledge that Data has. So I'll make it quick. So since it was Sherlock Holmes themed, the computer created the character of Moriarty with the knowledge that he's a hologram and with the ability to access the computer's systems and then control certain areas of the ship from that point, from the holodeck. So that's what happened. That was quite quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, and there are only 20 more parts to the explanation. But no.
You're trimming all the fat out.
Mm.
So I'll see if I can read. Where's my mouse gone?
Check under the table.
Yeah, it was behind my laptop actually. There it is. Portal 2 also has some great tracks, some of which are also quite chilling. Yeah, I do agree with that. Again, Portal 2 is something that I have played, and yeah, I don't agree with that. Especially when the second half of the game begins. By that, I assume the bit where you mean where Chell and GLaDOS fall down to the bowels of Aperture. VGR says soundtracks for Source 2 based games are pretty atmospheric. And then I start singing the line to which one is it? It's like the ending theme to Portal 2. What's it called? Want You Gone? That's what it's called.
I only want you gone.
I think so. Yeah, I just started singing it with Kango. I did the first one, he did the second.
Well, here we are again.
Again, it's always such a pleasure.
And that was so funny. One moment. It was when you said, "Well, here we are again." That was so funny because you could read that as a comment on me going off on a Star Trek tangent, because that was what I was talking about at the time. And then Kango writes, "It's always such a pleasure."
It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. So I found that quite funny.
Yeah, that's good. Then I say the one problem I have with Portal 2 is that it isn't that replayable, which I do agree with.
Just get into speed running, then you can optimize.
I am so impressed by people who manage to speedrun games. Like the tension that you must go through, like through every single, like essentially record attempt must be insane. Kengo says, I do get it, but I still enjoy replaying them, even if I remember the solution to the puzzles. Yeah, that's true. Um, that's what I thought on the first split second too. Have I ever played Portal Stories Mel? No, but I think a playthrough of it is sort of on my games to watch playlist. Kengo says, yeah, I think it might actually only be on Steam.
Yeah,
VGR.
they totally have no issues with landslides or anything here, or with water on the foundation or issues like that. No, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Just sign the contract and buy the house.
just sign the contract as the person, as the buyers are standing, and the seller is standing opposite them, and the seller can see the water just coming to the houses.
Either that, or if it's subsidence, it's like what the buyer is standing here, the seller is standing there, and then just sign here, and they're holding the pen, and they're just ever so slightly sliding down the mountain as the floor is subsiding. as they... yeah.
VGR says that Eliza says, anyway, we must go. He needs to sleep. As for me,
bye-bye.
Well, sometimes I'm a bit of a night owl. Good night, VGR. Kanga says, if you want more Portal game content, I highly recommend it. It does require you to own Portal 2 to work on Steam to work, but Portal Stories Mel is free and takes place between Portal 1 and Portal 2. Kango says, speaking of selling houses, and then there's another link. Yeah, Kango, didn't Valve say that Mel? I know it wasn't made by them, but didn't they sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't they canonize it like secondhand or something?
Second-hand canon.
Well, no, but you
I know what you mean.
It wasn't originally,
yeah.
It wasn't originally written to be canon, but the creator said, you know what? Yeah, this is canon. Do you want me to read out the houses thing?
Is that the same one that you've already read?
Nope. Staynock Estate Agents. We can sell you anything. I assume that's just a Photoshop job, Kango.
That's what? Sorry?
A Photoshop job.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's something that he made in Photoshop.
Ah. He made it in Pixelmator Pro, which is kind of like Photoshop.
Ah. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, I've been Oh yeah, Pixelmator Pro, there we go. I've actually been meaning to try out two things recently. One, I heard from a Game Theory episode, and it's something. Have you heard of Mario Maker?
Yes, I have.
It's essentially a free thing of that, but it's for Mega Man, and it's called Mega Maker, and that's something I've been meaning to try out. And oh god, what was it? Oh yeah, I don't know what caught my interest on it, but I've also been tempted to try out RPG Maker as well, just to see what it's like.
Ah, yes, RPG Maker. I have back in like 2012. When I was looking for, actually it would have been before then, it would have been like 2011 or 2010 or something like that. When I was looking for different game engines, I did briefly look into RPG Maker as well. And it seems, judging by how many games are made with it and how many similarities they all have, it seems like it's probably quite easy to learn. And it probably also has quite a few pre-built things that you can modify, because so many people's RPG Maker games look so similar in so many certain ways.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in making those kind of RPG games, and you're only at the beginning, then It's probably quite good. I haven't tried personally, but
Do you know if it's free or not?
I have no idea. But if you go into their website, you can probably find out if it's free.
Probably, yeah.
Usually when people want to charge money for something, they let you know that they want to charge money for the thing.
That's true. Kango has now put in... Oh, there we go. There we go. Kango said, imagine if they do a 3D Mario Maker, which I think would be quite good. Choosable themes such as Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, or Luigi's Mansion Maker. Be pretty good. Oh, God. I watched a video which calculated, because at the end of Luigi's Mansion, the amount of money that you get actually determines how big your mansion is, and so from that, this was game theory. He worked out how much in real life Luigi's mansion would cost, and he sort of worked out the time frame of not the time frame, the time frame that it was built, because of the architecture and the style and the usual cost of those kind of things. And it's just, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Oh yes. I also saw, this was a Mario Maker one. MatPat made a calculation on how many possible levels there are to make in Mario Maker.
So is that levels that are completable, or levels just...
That's the thing. The original number was how many levels possible. But then, by a technique that was known as Fermi estimation, which I think takes the concept of the overestimates will make up for the underestimates, when they sort of balance it out. He used that to sort of decrease the number, and it barely made a dent in the number. But the final number, I think it was a higher number than it is than what was it? It's a higher number than it is. It is a higher number than the number of estimated atoms in the universe. There we go.
Huh. Yeah,
I mean, a big number.
Yeah, I mean, with multiplication, you can get to big numbers quite quickly.
Yeah.
Also, I don't really know what to do with the slope here, because I was thinking maybe putting in a retaining wall like that, but that just doesn't look like you would find something like this on residential properties. Although maybe it's the unique thing about this area. It doesn't, just because it's not typical, doesn't mean that it wouldn't add here. I don't know.
You can maybe add it into the world building about maybe that is a piece of the world that sort of broke, and they're now trying to refurbish it. I'm also just going to check Kango's last advert.
Yeah, Kango. I am going to add shrubs. Yes. And me placing this down like this doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to keep it like this. I can always get rid of it later if I don't like it.
That is tiny text. It's an advert for the Stop First Driving School. An excellent driving school for hopefully just as excellent people, 16 plus. Don't be ashamed of your learner's permit. Be proud that you have one at all. We don't hand them out to everyone.
Let's see what it would look like with... Actually, I quite like how that looks here. Let's see what it would look like with bushes. Oh, we've only got... We've probably run... I'll add like 4 bushes, and then I'll get a thumbnail, and then I'll end the stream, because...
Yeah.
Just running out of time. I'll just add a couple of them, just to see what it would look like.
Kango says, did you see the red one too? Is that for me, Kango, or is that for Shower Dice with the building?
No, it was the adverts. It's the adverts.
Oh yeah. I don't think I did because I think I looked at the link above it. I think, but I will just have another look. No, I don't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't see that one. Papers, scissors, paper clips, arts and larks, stationery supplies, supplies. Very cheap price. Very cheap prices. Although we do appreciate tips.
Yeah, these are great, aren't they?
Really are.
Okay.
Did you say that you were just sort of? Oh God, he's got a. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up. Just finishing up.
Yeah. Did you say that this was just something that you were doing in spare time, Kanga, or are these sort of made for a project?
Okay, now it's just time to get the thumbnail.
Kango says that he made them for a game and that they're on the rears of buses. Spawned randomly in traffic of a 3D platform project I started working on in 2018.
Okay, let me just get another screenshot like this. I think those should be good. So, we've made it to the end of the stream.
Ooh.
So, congratulations everybody. You'll be getting a diploma in the mail sometime next millennium. So,
yes, sometime we're in the next 80 years.
Millennium is 1,000 years.
Well, yes, but yeah.
Oh right, I see what you mean. Yeah. I see.
As in, you will likely have gone on to the hereafter before you have given them the diploma.
Yeah, yes, Project 4 Cup. Very nice. So thank you all very much for watching. This stream will, of course, be archived. And again, on Wednesday, Polaris exploration map by Eagle for Trainz, Tiers 19. Should be fun. Hopefully it all works. And,
right,
and
of course, Monday.
We'll do Minecraft again with Emichu as well. Yeah, I mean, with the Minecraft thing being hosted on an external server, we can add quite a few more people without really affecting performance locally because all that stuff is being handled by the server. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But of course it's Java edition only. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, good night, people. Thanks for coming, and
thank you very much
Mr. Duck. Yeah, thank you for reading chat. So.
It's no worries at all.
Bye bye, people. Bye bye. Good night. Yes.
Goodbye.